Yo, what up? Welcome back. There's not a podcast. It's just my thoughts with Rob Markman. I hope your week is off to a great start. Happy Monday. I'd like to thank everybody who watches the channel, who likes, who subscribes, who shares, who comments. I try to respond to as many comments as possible. Please subscribe to the channel. If you watch, find yourself 2, 3, 4, 5 of these videos and you like what you see, subscribe, hit that subscribe button, man. It helps get the numbers up. I'm on the road to 100,000. I don't want to get to 100,000 subscribers, man, so let's get that up. All right, so congratulations are in order to Drake. All right. First of all, he had an amazing weekend at the Wireless Festival in UK, headline 3 nights. Maybe we'll talk about that later in the week. I'm just trying to formulate my thoughts around that. But I want to congratulate him today because his latest single, What Did I Miss?, the single that he dropped last week with the video, debuted at number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100. I think it's an amazing accomplishment. But Drake doesn't seem to be too thrilled about it. He released the track in a really creative way, right? If you remember, first he was playing on the live stream while he was driving a truck, an Iceman truck through Toronto, and it's speculated that Iceman is the name of his new album. He dropped a music video with it too, so just a very different way to do things. Most of us were tuned in. So debuted on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 2. Alex Warren, Ordinary, is number 1. Debuted at number 2. Drake didn't seem too happy. He posted on his IG stories the chart, and he says Suppressor on the number 1 spot. I'm taking that soon. Don't worry. One song or another. Rule changes and all. So the question to you is, do you think, and let me know in the comments, do you think that Drake is being suppressed on the Billboard charts? We know that there's a lot going on with him. There is this UMG versus Drake lawsuit that is still in effect, and we're still waiting to see what the results of that are going to be. The official trial hasn't started yet, so we'll see. But so is he being suppressed on the Billboard charts? Is there a suppressor of any kind on him? Aside from being competitive, right, and wanting a number 1, right? Like, I get that. Drake is the kind of guy who, man, he ain't coming to this game to be number 2. I think number 2 is an amazing debut, especially for that single, but wanting that number 1 spot. Currently, he's tied with Michael Jackson, right? So this is part of it. They both have 13 number 1s on the Billboard Hot 100. Just to put things in perspective, Elvis Presley is the solo male artist with the most number 1s. He's at 18. The Beatles as a group are the artists with the most Billboard number 1 on the Hot 100 with 20. But one more number 1 puts Drake above Michael Jackson, which is a bragging right for sure. Also, interesting to note that this is Drake's 81st top 10 entry on the Hot 100. And he's the artist with the most entries there, the most top 10 entries. He has 81. Taylor Swift is second with 59. And you know me, and I've said this before, man, and we talk about charts. The accolades are dope. I don't think, and I believe this, charts to me and sales and those type of metrics do not determine who is dope. It does not determine who raps the best. There's more to that, specifically when it comes to hip hop. But I'm not against celebrating the charts, celebrating the number 1. Go get a number 1. Go get, you know what I'm saying? The most top 10 entries, like all of that is cool. It just doesn't, my problem is when we're arguing about who's the best or debating about who's the best and having these cultural conversations, and then someone and solely relies on the chart. So-and-so must be the best because they chart this much or they sold this much. It just doesn't add up to me. But so, again, the question is Drake being suppressed in any way? In March, and he also wrote rule changes and all, right? And I'm wondering what he's referencing. That's the part that I don't get. In March, Billboard did make some rule changes in what they say is an attempt to stop chart manipulation. I'm not 100% sure how this affected Drake or if this is what he's referencing. A lot of those changes had to do with the direct-to-consumer market, digital album redemption, like when you go to the artist's website and you buy a digital release from them, right? So those rule changes had to do with that. You had to use like verification and the capture to make sure that bots weren't buying digital albums. And there were rule changes about fake streaming and data and bots. It says any Direct-to-consumer store with 3 submissions of illegitimate data within the 12-month period may receive a minimum 90-day reporting suspension. So again, this has to do with how we consume music off of the DSPs and on artist websites where we buy music from, right? Fixed pricing minimums, they changed the rules to, like, minimum price for all direct-to-consumer exclusive digital albums have been raised to $7.99. This was for people who might have sold the whole album for $3.99. You put it on sale, you entice more people to buy it. And then there's minimum price increases for CDs. CDs, minimum price for a CD is $7.99 for its account, $7.99 for a cassette for its account, $15.99 for a piece of vinyl to count. So they made these changes. I don't see how this affects Drake in this. And also they did restrictions on direct-to-consumer exclusive versions. Only 4 digital direct-to-consumer exclusive versions will be allowed. So that's like Taylor Swift had a bunch of variants, like album variants and stuff like that. I feel like this was more like to react to how Taylor Swift ran the charts with all her album variants. More recently on 630, at the end of June, SiriusXM streaming data is now included in the Hot 100 as well. Maybe that rule change keeps Alex Warren's Ordinary at number 1 this week. I don't know. It still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, that's a huge record that spent 6 weeks at number 1. So that doesn't make any sense, and a lot of huge radio play. So I'm just trying to figure out what Drake is saying when he says rule changes and all. I don't know if any of the specific Billboard rule changes affected his chart position or limited him from getting a number 1 this week with What Did I Miss? I mean, he also could be referring to just his lack of radio play for this single. Again, Alex Warren crushed at radio, but he's been crushing at radio. This was a record that has been being worked at radio for a long time now, and again 6 weeks at number 1. So maybe he didn't get the radio play he thought he would get, but also that more falls in line with the label unless you hire an independent radio promoter. So I don't 100% know what he's getting at. If you and I tried to look into it. I tried to look into all the recent rule changes to try to understand. So if you see something different or if you think you have a theory on what Drake is getting at, please let me know. But again, for me, What Did I Miss? It felt like a cool record to me. I said that when it dropped. I said I was confused about the gun thing and seeing in the video, but I did think it was a cool record. I didn't feel like it was a number 1. Like In My Feelings felt like a number 1 when that was popping. Like God's Plan felt like a number 1. Even Nokia, which didn't hit number 1, Nokia felt like a big record. You hear that record everywhere still when you go outside. Hotline Bling felt like a number 1 record, even though Hotline Bling peaked at number 2. Like just these cultural, inescapable records that really define the moment. And I don't know, at least in this 1 week, that What Did I Miss was that. So for me, a number 2 debut is a huge win. The real tell will be what happens next week. Can it rise to number 1? Are we going to see this record grow? Will it stay at number 2? Will it drop a few notches? Does it stay in the top 10? Like week 2 is the tail sign of the power of this record. So it'll be interesting. I will watch out for week 2. And then the only other hip hop song in the top 10 is Luther. Kendrick Lamar says at number 7. I want to see more hip hop in the top 10. Luther has been a mainstay for sure. Definitely dying down, still like a big record. But spent so many weeks at number 1. And, it's losing ground each week. But, Luther had a ton of staying power. So we're catching Luther like on the end, as it comes out. But still a very powerful record. Still staying strong in the top 10. But I want to see more hip hop in the top 10. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, man. I just thought this was interesting. I saw debuting at number 2. I thought, oh, that's great for a hip hop record. That's great for a rap record. And then saw Drake's comment about Suppressor at number 1. So let me know what you think. Is Drake being suppressed on Billboard? Is he being suppressed at radio? I don't believe so. I think the reception for this record was strong and appropriate. And again, I think number 2 is great, but you may feel different. So, let me know. Also, like I said, shout out to him doing 3 nights in the UK at Wireless Festival. He headlined 3 nights. That's a big deal, no matter how you slice it. I do have some thoughts on that too, particularly the U.S. versus U.K. thing and the thing going on with Skepta and now Joyner Lucas. I'm really just trying to formulate my thoughts. So maybe another video around that. I may still talk about some Clips things this week, man. Very much into that Clips album. Think we got to revisit Jim Jones' verse towards Pusha T in response to Chains and Whips. So we're gonna do that as well this week. And check out Genius too, man. We did Clips at Genius, man. Verified. We launched another one today for Ace Trumpets. So go check that out at Genius, man. That's very much my work, myself and my team. I flew out to LA, made that happen, man. So shout out to the whole team. And man, I hope y'all good, man. And we'll talk. We definitely gonna talk some more this week. We're gonna talk some more hip hop, man. But these are just my thoughts. All right, peace.